Let's do it.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Council Vice President, could you please read the Open Public Meeting Act statement?
The Open Public Meetings Act statement. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of June 9th, 2020 was included in a list of meeting notices sent to the newspapers of record and posted on the bulletin boards in the municipal building. It has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk.
Hey, thank you, sir. Vicky, can you proceed with roll call, please?
Council President Piazza,
Here?
Council Vice President McVeigh.
Here.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo. Here. Councilman Fulper.
Here.
Councilman Wyatt.
Yes.
Harry, hold on, Harry. You're
Sound
muted.
travels far from space.
You should be good, Harry.
Sign language.
You good?
I'm good, but I don't hear
Okay.
you. It's just spinning.
We can see and hear you okay.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I don't know why it says waiting and just spinning, and I don't know why the video is.
He sounds good.
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, we'll go on.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to open the floor to public comments. Please state your name, address, and you'll have a 3-minute time limit. Raise your hand or use one of the signals that Zoom provides. I'd appreciate it. No one? Joe? Okay.
I was hoping you were going to talk a little bit about the what is it called? The demonstrations. What are they called?
Marches?
The marches. Yeah.
Council President, if I may.
I didn't know what.
Yeah.
These are it's a work set. These are a work session. This would be agenda items only.
Yeah, this is it's public comment on agenda items only. I gave you those items, Joe, before the meeting.
Yeah. I heard you didn't mention agenda items only, so I was not clear on that.
Okay.
No,
sorry about that.
And it would have been nice. What is they called? Being 82 tomorrow. By the way, wish me happy birthday. Tomorrow I'll be 82. And I lost the word again. Okay.
Sorry.
Nobody's going to volunteer what they're called. It's like we stand together. What?
Solidarity.
There we go. Solidarity. Yeah. I was hoping you were
Okay.
going to toe that one a little bit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I thought you were looking for the word presents, like for your birthday. Presents.
Oh, yeah. But I am here, and you can then send me presents. Especially you, because you love me. So don't forget to send me presents.
I'm stopping down and giving you a present tomorrow, and I am.
All right, let's move on. If you would, Joe? Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
lightening up the room. That's great.
Work session.
First on the discussion list, we have Tim O'Brien from Van Cleef Engineering to speak about our sanitary storm sewer and roads. Tim, you here? Thought I saw you.
Yeah.
Hi, Tim.
Provide a brief update on the sewer and storm inspections that we're doing related to the 2020 road program. The contractor has been working for approximately 9 days. We were scheduled to camera 58,000 feet of pipeline, of which we are now complete through the end of the day yesterday of 13,500 feet of pipe. Based on that, that's about 21%, a little over 21% of the contract that's complete. We're finding that we have about 6,700 feet of storm and sanitary lines that require replacement and 6,000 feet of pipe that require lining.
Do those overlap? Wait, no, replacement, and then so it's pretty much 100% needs some sort of repair.
Very high percentage at this time needs repair. We're primarily have worked in the section of town that runs between Roseberry Street down to Railroad over to down Warren Street towards the school, and then we made our way over towards Hudson Street also. So this is a particularly older section of town that primarily is predominantly clay pipe with a little bit of mix of corrugated metal and some concrete. So this type of pipe is on the older side and is prone to needing repairs. What we're finding is quite a bit more extensive than what we anticipated.
Okay. How about if we open for discussion? Councilman Wyatt, would you like to start?
Do we have any cost estimates?
Preliminary projections based on just what I've completed now, we're looking at 800,000 in repairs, 270,000 in lining. And if we project out the same worst case scenario, what we're finding on what we completed over the entire thing, we're looking at 5.5 million in repairs and lining related to the 2020 road program.
What about grant funding?
Yes, so opportunities for funding for grants, sanitary sewer generally does not have grants to do replacement or lining. Same thing on storm. The state does provide through the Water Infrastructure Bank Trust Fund, formerly known as NJEIT. They provide low cost at bonding opportunities. So you can borrow money at the state's rate, which typically is less than what the town bonding rate is. And they allow for quite extensive period of repayment. So instead of say 10 years or 15, you can push it out to typically the life of the system, which generally maxes out at 30 years for the bonds.
What portion of that would be for that we could use for
the EIT? You could apply, which we could work on get started on the application right away. You could bond as much as your bonding capacity allows you from the town. So if you tell the state you have, just rough figure, say $5.5 million in repairs that you want to do, and this is how you want to spend the money, we would tell them we want to replace sanitary and storm lines in this part of the town. They would then start working on the paperwork. There might be some smaller programs out there through nonprofits that might, which is a substantial amount for a nonprofit to provide, say 100,000. There's some opportunities there, but it wouldn't necessarily crack the full nut of the repairs that we're looking at right now. For the road resurfacing portion, because when some of the repairs required digging up the road to resurface curb to curb, the town has money in the budget to do some of it because some of it's through utilities, and what we're anticipating doing for the first part of the paving program, we could incorporate into, say, a DOT grant. That's a potential to chisel off some of it, but that's a small token towards the overall cost. And then there is a road resurfacing bonding program through the state that you could get favorable rates from the state to do a very comprehensive replacement, repairs of the storm and sewer lines, and then use the road portion to resurface and repair any curb or sidewalk that might need to get addressed as you do your main line repairs.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman DiGirolamo? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you say something? Oh, okay. Councilman Fulper?
Yes, since attorney Winter's fees are much cheaper than the engineers, can we have the attorney's office perform these repairs? I have nothing. Tim, thank you very much for an informative report.
We are right now, some of the distances I have down for repairs, I am coordinating with the DPW to identify sections that could potentially be done in-house with their equipment that they have. So we are working on that to hopefully try to chisel to get this price a little bit lower.
Well, it's about the quality of life for the residents, so we truly do appreciate your hard work and time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing, Council President.
Council Vice President McVeigh?
Tim appropriately answered in the in-house repairs that could chisel some of it away. That's all really I had. I know our crews had the ability to do some work, but Tim, thank you very much for all you do and keeping the best interest of our town. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
That was good. Thanks.
I guess my first question would be, this is a recommendation. I mean, the best case scenario, we can afford to replace it. We should. Is there a percentage that could, I guess, how much of it has been replaced with corrugated PVC?
What we're seeing in terms of corrugated, we have a small percentage of corrugated. I would say 90% of your lines are terracotta, and almost then another 9% of your lines are probably concrete or a mix of concrete or brick, and then you have maybe 1% of corrugated.
Okay, so the makeup right now is contributing to poor drainage, poor water flow.
Yes, on the storm side, we're seeing the typical issue we're finding is collapsed sections of the pipe or corrosion, where due to the velocity of the material coming through it, it's actually wearing through the pipe. So if it's a concrete pipe, that means the concrete aggregate's exposed. Some of your pipe in town dates back to the late 1800s. A lot of your pipe was put into 1930s with the various federal programs to get people working at the time. The work was good, but a lot of storm and sanitary, 100 years it starts pushing is the upper limits of a system.
Okay.
What we're seeing could potentially lead to, with the repairs we're looking to do, could cut down on infiltration into your system, blockages of the sanitary system, localized flooding that may be occurring in areas of the town. Because we're seeing some of the pipes that get the stormwater from the inlets into the system are completely collapsed. And the sooner you want to get those fixed to avoid potentials related to sinkholes, which the collapse could be caused from a naturally occurring sinkhole in the area of the pipe.
Okay. Are these appropriately sized, like diameter-wise?
Some locations are undersized for what they should be. The current minimum on a storm size, you'd be looking at a 15. The sanitary sizing wise is consistent with what you would expect to see. Some sections are actually probably oversized what's going through it, and anywhere we're doing a comprehensive replacement, we're going to verify the size of the line is accurate for what it's connecting to. Anywhere we're doing a spot repair, we're going to try to repair a piece of pipe that's in kind, and then try to rehab the rest of the line to avoid issues with roots coming in the lines that are, if you have roots coming into your sanitary line, that means water's also coming in with them.
Okay. All right. That's about all I have. And this should be done before any paving, right?
Yes, so far the overall paving program anticipated 60 roads between this year and potentially some carrying into next year based on funding levels. We've been primarily focused in one area of town, so I can't say all the roads in town are gonna have the same issue, but we have at least 6 roads that do not have utilities on them, or that portions of them, what we found, the utilities were okay. Some of the repairs could be done. The road could be paved, and then the pipe could be lined after the fact, but it would be ideal to try to do as much as you can ahead of time in case something unforeseen happens and you have to open the road after you pave.
Okay.
But there's sufficient time in this calendar year to get a good amount of work completed and roads paved. So for instance, Heckman, we recently awarded that. There are repairs on that road, but all that work can be completed in a relatively reasonable time fashion and with money currently allocated between the projects, with maybe some minor change orders.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, did you have anything to add or comment on?
I just keep hearing different stories, you know, and it went from 100,000 to 5 million. But Tim, what you're telling us, we can't do any roads this year except Heckman Street?
Not that we can't do any roads this year, that some of the roads need either repair or replacement before you pave them. So some might just require lining.
Which one today? You have a list of that, right?
Yes, I've been circulating on a weekly basis a progress report, or progress report. So it could be, for instance, portions of First Street require lining, portions of it require replacement. Some of the replacement are the cross drains from the inlets to the manholes, which the DPW are going to be working with the DPW to start getting their crews involved in the replacement. And once those drains are replaced, I could potentially clear out some of the road for paving. Marshall has a mix of replace and lining. Lincoln has some lining and replace. So, but I'm hoping in the next 2 to 3 weeks, when I get over into Valley View, get over into the Kent Hill Congress Mill Steel area, that I start finding lines that are in better condition, that we can start incorporating those into the paving program.
That Bates Street area has to get done.
Yeah, Bates Street requires some sewer.
I was originally told that it was just a connection that needed to go in the sewer line. Now the story's changed now. It was $100,000 repair, and we had that extra from the grant that we could have used. Now there's another story.
No, so particularly for Heckman Street, we had anticipated the overall project cost would require the town to contribute about 100,000, give or take, to the project. The overall bid with all the options came in less than that. So our intent was to use a portion of the money that we had anticipated for the overall project cost to get the sanitary repairs done. We're waiting to get a number back from the contractor on what those repairs will cost. So, we're anticipating that 100,000 could definitely repair a good portion of Heckman and then carry into other sections. But we would.
And Bates Street, that's the street. It's bad.
Yes, Bay Street. Yeah, Bay Street is a pretty beat up road in town, and we found that the sanitary line has quite a bit of work that needs to get done that typically would not be anticipating on a road. Normally when you come through a paving program like this, maybe you're spending 100,000 to do some spot repairs and some isolated lining. The amount of repairs we're seeing is abnormal.
Councilman Fulper, did you have something to add? I thought I heard you say something.
I do. I apologize. Tim, did you say how long you believe this project will take?
I did not provide a time frame on that.
Do you have a time frame?
I don't. Typically, at this but give me a second.
I guess my question would be like, how much pipe do you think that you can lay in a day?
On a good day, you could probably do 400 to 500 feet. So right now we have 6,700 feet of sewer pipe that we would a preliminary review. We're looking to potentially replace the line to get you another 100 years out of it and get a long-term use out of the road without having to dig it back up. So 6,700 feet, that rough estimate, that's about 14 days, and then you factor some additional work. So you're probably looking at the 20 to 25 days, assuming that was all in one area.
Okay, and it's stiff pipe, right? Not flex pipe.
This is it's all solid pipe. There's no flexible plastic pipe that we come across yet. It's
Okay.
typically, your sewers are typically clay. There's some, and any spots that were previously repaired are generally PVC SDR 35.
And there's definitely no lining. Excuse me. There's definitely no lining for the pipe that will protect the pipe that we currently have, right? So we would.
There is. So 60 as part of my 6,700 will generally require replacement, where we don't think there's enough left of the pipe that will hold up long enough if you lined it. There's about 6,000 feet of pipe that we are considering for lining.
Okay, that's all I have, Councilman. Thank you.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
if I might.
Yes.
The, you videoed down in the area of First Street and Marshall, correct?
Yes, we did.
That is a location where it, floods. Almost every large rainstorm. Have you found any reason why it's flooding? Because of the pipe size, because it's filled with sediment, or what have you?
Yes, in that particular area, there's several sections of the storm line, particularly 90% of the pipes that run from the inlet to the manholes need replacement. Gaps, voids, or breaks. It's not 100% clear yet what may have caused them. When we're looking at the tapes, some areas are a bit easier when you start seeing large voids behind the pipe where a piece of the pipe should be, and you start seeing large voids. That's potential related to sinkhole that formed in the area of the pipe. It could be a matter of cover over top of the pipe. But when we do the pipe replacement between the manhole and the inlet, we're going to be recommending to the DPW to use at least a 15-inch pipe if we have enough cover over the top of the pipe, which is more the minimum size standard. Now, previously you would typically see a 10, 12-inch pipe. We've come across some storm pipes as small as 8-inch, which is very undersized.
And what size pipe does that dump into then to get that stormwater away?
The main lines on the roads have ranged anywhere between 15-inch all the ways up to 60-inch pipe. Typically, you're in the 15 to 20-inch range.
In that area specifically, where we have that flooding issue, the main line, because you're coming off the hill with all your, stormwater. You're coming down the hill, from many areas.
The water's running down Marshall. It's getting picked up by a couple of yard inlets or catch basin inlets here or there. Let me just, I'm pulling up the map right now to give you the exact number. There's some, while I'm pulling this up, the one issue that we did find, there's a 60-inch culvert that's in the area of the school by Warren Street. There's a large stormwater basin that was rehabbed in the 90s, and then Bridge did some work in there. There's signs that young kids are actually going down the line and spray painting graffiti in the line. There's tags in the pipe indicating 2018, somebody named Emily, somebody named Alyssa. down the line. So that's something we talked with the DPW on, and they don't have the ability to secure the entrance to the pipe. So that's something we would want to work with the contractor in the sooner than later to get it closed up to prevent kids from walking down the storm line, because you can actually walk that line all the ways down to South Main by the roughly where the new police headquarters, where the police are operating out of currently.
Yeah, that line goes Center Street all the way down.
Yep, it goes up. Yeah, it comes down Warren Basin to Warren Street over to Center to Lime Kiln. Lime Kiln runs through easements and paper streets, crosses, gets over to South Main, and comes back across and runs through, I believe, what is now a lumber yard.
All right.
The pipe in question, portions of the pipe in the area of Marshall and Irwin are 24-inch parts. Some of it is concrete, some of it is clay.
So that should be
Pretty good
sufficient.
sized pipe.
That should be sufficient to carry, you know, and you know, alleviate that flooding.
Yeah, if you can get the water into the pipe, you could cut down on flooding. But if the water can't get to that pipe because the pipe connecting between the inlet and that main is blocked, you can cause flooding.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. I just want to make sure that, you know, we're replacing this and we can eliminate, you know, the flooding in that particular area with this new pipe.
Yeah, you'll see. There's good potential to reduce the flooding. And before we replace a certain pipe that we can replace in kind, if we're just doing the inlet to the main, and if we're going to do the main storm pipe, we can do a brief analysis to confirm that it's sized properly. But if we're only replacing between, say, 2 blocks of the pipe, you don't want to necessarily upsize that if the next 5 blocks or 10 blocks downstream or a smaller diameter. You don't want to have smaller pipe downstream.
I understand that.
But we can look at it more comprehensively to, if we need to, plan ahead and put, say, 30-inch pipe in or 36 in, and then down the road, say when you get to Hudson and you go down Hudson, when you do work on Hudson, to upgrade the storm line on that side to come up to 36.
Okay. That number you gave us is just for the streets that we're going to pave this year?
Just for the streets this year, we've only looked at about 21% of the system, and what generally would be considered the older section of the system. I mean, there hasn't been too many changes in the uses of the properties in that area or any major redevelopment since a lot of the homes were built. So hopefully when we get into some of the more recent areas that were developed, we'll start seeing more lines in a little bit better shape. Or when we get down to South Main, where there's been some development, say down in the area of Mercer and Howard Street, where you have some relatively newer, say, commercial industrial warehouses down there, that some of those lines would be in a bit better shape, because likely when they came in, the town would have asked them to make some updates or repairs.
Well, that's something that we have to do before we pay. Absolutely.
Yeah, and some of them will have, at some point we'll have, I wanted to do this presentation tonight so you're aware of potentially where the budget's going on repairs and replacement. And we'll have to have a more in detailed discussion, because there could be sections where, for instance, say on Bates gets to the point, the budget doesn't permit replacing Bates, but the road is getting to the point that it's undrivable or becoming unsafe. We would have a discussion saying that the useful life of the pipe, you may have to dig up the road in 5 years. So you'll get 5 years out of this, and you could revisit this 5 years down the road. But ideal, you would try to fix it before you pave to avoid re-spending money again. but you may have to consider that if the road's in very bad shape and you can't fund the repair.
Now, you've talked to the utilities as far as the roads are concerned to see if utilities have to do anything in their respective, piping.
Yeah, we've been working closely with the Aqua Elizabethtown since late December, January, about potential upcoming road projects. We've been also coordinating to try to get them to provide the funding that they need to for the road resurfacing for their fair share of it. So they're aware. And typically a lot of the roads that we're anticipating paving were roads that the gas company has already improved, or in the case of Bates, that was the water company. And a block of Summit was also the water company.
Okay, I'm fine. Thank you.
Hey, Tim, thank you.
The water company council president said they would contribute another $500,000 to the program, and Rich Schwenner is aware of that.
Okay.
Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Always the bearer of bad news.
I don't know about that, Council President. Honestly, judging by the amount of pipe he said he's laid in the day, I believe the price could actually pan out.
Yeah, might not be so bad for all that pipe.
And I'm using earlier figures. As you start to get group more work and have more focused work scope, the contractors can get a better idea. But I'm using typical pricing that we would see on a project that it would be a little bit smaller scale. This is a pretty big scale lining and replacement project. So hopefully if you package it together and get the economy of scale to get it down.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Next on our agenda, we have a proposed fee schedule for the Recreation Department for a various items, actually. Do we have DJ on? Yeah, we do.
Come on, do you think I'd miss this?
How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing very well, Council President. Thank you. So pretty much, long story short, we could talk about this all night, but I'll spare everybody. Pretty much what the Recreation Department is looking to do is to insert a little bit of business sense into the Recreation Department in terms of us being able to raise fees to cover the costs of maintaining our facilities, while also, being able to offer more services where, again, we can cover those costs, generate some and then into parks and recreation for the town. Just a long-term sustainability, for the department is what I'm looking for. Waters that this town has never tested, and I'm happy that.
DJ, I think you're cutting out on us a little bit. Is that just me? Is everybody else experiencing that? Anybody?
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I had you cutting out intermittently. Sorry about that. Maybe it was just me. I apologize.
So yeah, again, we're just looking for something that we have in place, something that we're not really going to have to do much with. The fee ranges that researched and provided and talked about with some people, they're pretty wide, pretty narrow, where we won't have to touch for many years if this is the route we decide to take. But again, it's all about being able to have these resources and these tools in place, recreation into the next level.
Councilman Wyant, would you like to ask any questions concerning the fee schedule?
No, I'm good.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo?
Yes. Grandparent child rate. Are we taking away the senior citizen discounts?
No, so the senior citizen discount would still be in place. I think that's 290-7 in the town code, so they would still receive that 10% off. However, I think the code also does say that, where it applies. So if we're charging, grandparent and a grandchild, it wouldn't apply there since they're already getting a pretty, good rate for a fee.
I ask because the rate is less. Is that intentional?
Yeah, just because of the, I know in my situation, growing up, my grandparents did a lot of raising me, and with very little money, you do see a lot of grandparents raising their grandchildren because people can't afford childcare. So we want to give them a little bit of a break while they care for their loved ones.
So the 10% would remain overall. The use permit fees, are we reinstating that ordinance?
Ideally, yes, because that's a great revenue generator, and with the new recreation management software going to be launching August 6th, it would take away the concerns that the council had before of picking and choosing, because everything would have to go through that system. It wouldn't be a picking and choosing type of scenario.
We would need to implement that first.
Okay.
The special use permit, no, I think this will carry it somewhere else. DJ, we did talk about 9/1/2020 in that right?
I will say, Councilwoman, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a wind tunnel.
Actually, almost everybody's been breaking up. The 9/1/2020 rate?
Yep.
Are we gonna push that rate to 2021 and everything forward?
We certainly can. At least by that point, the minimum wage would be at $12 an hour, and that's what the increase of the fees would take into account. I believe by 2023, the minimum wage is going to be up to $15 an hour. So we just want to shift them accordingly so that we are able to cover our costs. So even if we started with that higher rate in 2021, I think that would still be okay, because the minimum wage would be at $12 as opposed to what we were paying lifeguards previously.
Have you thought about a cleanup fee or a trash removal fee?
I did see that. I know you had sent me some things previously. I did see, and that's not uncommon, a $25 cleanup fee. But since we are doubling the pavilion costs, use costs for at least Walters Park, and implementing a new fee, that we haven't really charged for at Green Street, yeah, that would just be great, another source of revenue. But if that's something that the council would like to see, we can certainly add it in there.
You see how much trash is in the park?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a lot of trash.
Yeah. We have 15 picnic areas and a 125 person pavilion. There's a lot of trash.
Billing. Is the expectation people will always give 30 days advance notice before an event?
So that would be the, hold on one sec. I feel like I was cutting in and out there. So yeah, especially with all of the, with the requests, the way that the rec software is going to be built is, certain areas would have to be requested for use versus other areas being automatically being able to be booked. The request would come right to me, and then they would be given that 30 days, billing onto their account through the rec software system.
It notes 4 hours, so if somebody wants to use a football field for 8 hours, they're going to pay twice that.
Yes. unless of course we want to just expand that to, it's an all day use, just like the pavilion, it's hard to police that, given, recreation is a department of one. We can make that for an all day use and make everything consistent across the board.
She sounds like she's talking from Route 22.
East or west?
West.
I'm sorry, did somebody say something?
There you go. We can't hear you.
No, it's very difficult. It sounds like a fan's on, maybe?
No, turned it all off.
Okay.
I suggested earbuds before, but that.
I can't hear anybody, so, and it's turned up all the way.
I can hear you now.
Yeah. I can email, there's just some language here that I just request, DJ, that I didn't see, and it's not noted in here. The dog park.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something we can look into, and I know there's still going to be a lot of questions that are raised about this, and I definitely want to get all those questions answered. So, and include anything that we can to make it as clear as possible.
Right.
Sorry, DJ, somebody's
I'd like to ask the mayor a question.
Somebody was talking, DJ. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I muted him, Danielle. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, so like I said, any questions that you have, Council, certainly, call me and email me about them, because we can put anything in there in terms of recreation. And just your concern was about the dog park.
Yes.
Yep. So that's a fine line. I don't want to. I don't mind crossing. I don't mind bulldozing over lines either, because that's something we can certainly include. But from my understanding, that's a clerk's office function, and animal control, reaps those benefits. But if we want to make it recreation, I'm fine with that, since it is an amenity in the park.
Well, I have.
Were you finished, Councilwoman? Oh, okay. Thank you. Councilman Fulper?
No, TJ, from what I understand from our discussions, this is time sensitive, correct?
Yes, I have had a request come in to use a field recently, that if this were our current field fee schedule, that would have yielded us $4,000 in revenue. So I do foresee us, getting more of those requests coming in, because people do need fields, and we have a good inventory of them.
Okay. I appreciate your hard work. I absolutely support this and believe that we can amend it as we move forward. That's all I have, Council President.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councilman.
You're welcome.
Council Vice President?
Director, thank you for all your hard work. We've been in talks this week. I know we're going to be circling back as early as possibly tomorrow to discuss some further ideas. I'm good with it. If it's time sensitive, like Councilman Fulper said, we need to know how quick we have to act. But in DJ, I trust, man. So we're good. I'm good, Council President.
Thank you. DJ, I just this type of schedule, fee schedule, this is typical from town to town, I guess. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of municipalities, what you'll see is the different, I clustered everything together, but yeah, you'll have your pool fee schedule, your facility use schedule, a program fee schedule that if you want to run programs. What's not typical that you don't see, of course, is the fee schedule for, safety equipment, as well as, purchasing of like softballs and baseballs. You don't see that anywhere. But given the way that we have been operating in town for so long, that just matches our current, how we have done things.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. For all your hard work. I know I've spoken to you quite a few times in the past few weeks, and you're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Who's got the birds? Anyway, going forward, we have these are a few items that were brought up in council meetings for future discussion. Discussion on a financial burden due to the current COVID-19 situation in regards to fees for property maintenance. I guess it's been brought up on more than one occasion. The fining of residents during a really harsh pandemic and financial time. We do have the ordinance attached to the agenda. Councilman Wine, did you have an opinion on this going forward?
No, I don't have it.
Councilwoman DiGirolamo?
No.
Okay. Councilman Fulper?
Yes, I do. So you're correct, and I've spoken with the mayor already, and I'd like to get an opinion this evening from the attorney. We've seen, to the inspector's credit, and I'm very happy that they're out there actually inspecting the buildings. The unfortunate part is that we are in a pandemic, and we are one of the poorest towns in the state of New Jersey with a 19% poverty rate. We have seen a lot of violations written for chipped paint, failure to power wash, which I hope that we're able to amend this evening. But I would say if we're able to enact 111.6 that states of the town code that states that the town council shall modify, reverse, or affirm the decisions of the code official or the department head only by a concurring vote of a majority of the total members present for the hearing. If we're bringing them in, Rich, does this mean that we have the ability to nix those violations so that the residents do not have to incur the cost?
So, Councilman Fulper, it depends upon the violation that's being issued. Some violations are adjudicated before the municipal court. Other violations are adjudicated before the Construction Board of Appeals. And then there may be some that go before the council. So I have to look at the specific reference to the code violations or the violations of the Uniform Construction Code, as the case may be.
Okay.
Certainly look at that and advise the council.
All right. Only because I don't feel that power washing nor replacing siding or anything to that effect was paramount during the pandemic. We were asking our residents at that point in time. And I know that Mayor Tresigny had provided them with a more, what would you say, Mayor, an extension you had provided them?
Councilman Fulper, may I, is it all right for me to speak real?
Yeah. You don't have to ask me, sir, please.
All right. Yeah, as long as they got in touch with the property inspector, we'll give them the maximum amount of time that they need, and residents have been contacting him, and he would like if he'd give them the maximum, and he agreed to do that. He said he'd be very flexible in that type of situation, and I wasn't in beginning was not a didn't really know he was doing that sort of thing. But when it comes to that, I do have
Ask the Statners.
do have a gracious heart, and he will comply with that type of situation. That's no problem, Councilman Fulper.
Okay. I appreciate that, Mayor.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Council President, what I'd say is we'll wait for Rich to get back to us on whether or not we're able to nix those types of violations. In the meantime, I would encourage the mayor's office, if someone does have to go to court for one of those violations, that he would attend and ask the judge to drop such charge. But that's just me. I'd encourage it.
Thank you very much, Councilman.
You're welcome.
Council Vice President?
I'm good, sir.
I do agree with the job that the inspectors are doing, although I do think the unusual circumstances that we're presented with, I see that.
It is a little bit nitpicking.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a
Garbage and grass, I will not touch.
sure. Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible thing. I just case by case. We've been here case by case, so thank you very much for doing that for the people. And next on our list, we have property maintenance violations. It's similar to the previous discussion. Revision of some of these. Councilman Wyatt? Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Councilman Wyatt?
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Councilwoman DiGirolamo?
I don't know what we're looking to amend. From what I can see, we're still related to the property code from 2000, and we're up to 2018 on IBC. So, we can't override the IBC standard, but we're not up to date. An adoption of 2018 IBC standards, or what are we looking for? I don't know any.
Well, are you noticing ones that are not up to date?
Well, the whole thing is written around the International Property Maintenance Code of 2000. Current code is 2018.
Okay, motion to upgrade the code to the International Building Code of 2018.
I can't take the action.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll do that in the, we'll try to update it to the International Building Code of 2018 during our next meeting.
I mean, if there's specific things somebody has an issue with, it may be addressed in 2018. I don't know. I don't know what they are. We haven't discussed it.
I think we're here to, so we're acknowledging that some may be out of date right now. That is part of the discussion, right?
Yeah, it was just some need to be revised, so I don't know what some is.
Okay, all right. Well, let's move ahead with the discussion. Maybe some others have some examples or input on that. Councilman Fulper?
Okay, Council President, I was particularly concerned with Chapter 447th, 305.1, which was the accumulation of furniture, toys, bicycles, construction supplies, and equipment and other items or personal belongings, stating that it shall not be stored on the exterior of the premises or open on porches or decks and only within an enclosed utility or shed or garage. My personal opinion is we live in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. We have a ton of kids with bikes, and if they're going to keep them in their yard or they have toys in their yard, I really don't think that we should be violating any of our residents in that case. Quite frankly, I mean, I'm sure that when my children were young, I've had toys all throughout my yard, and if you would have violated me for it, I probably would have had a breakdown in court. Try picking up after 4 young kids. I just don't understand where we're going with this. It almost looks to me like we wrote this surrounding some type of condominium ordinance. I mean, we don't live in that type of environment. We have homes, we have homeowners, and if they want to keep things in their yard and it's not a nuisance, I don't see the issue.
Thank you, sir.
That's not the only thing I have, by the way, Council President. Could not find the power washing issue, but I did speak with the mayor yesterday. We don't have a grade on which we determine whether or not homes should or should not be power washed, and that we don't have a scale that we're currently using. Who is to determine whether or not a home is to be power washed? And again, there we're asking our homeowners to incur a cost that they may or may not need. I'm sure that, if you see a really dirty home, it's common sense. But from my understanding is that some of these homes didn't appear to be completely filthy. You probably wouldn't have known it, unless it was written up. But I just don't know that the power washing should remain in there as well. These are things that I think we need to take a look at and use common sense. At the same time, keep our residents in mind.
Is there anything else, council?
I could go on all night, but I won't. I'll save it for the amendments. I'll send them over to the attorney. I'll speak with our residents and let's hope and pray that we're able to put something before the council that is amenable to the town of Phillipsburg and our residents.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Council Vice President?
I'm good, sir.
I guess going forward, I know Councilwoman DiGirolamo, Councilman White, and Mayor Tersigni all have backgrounds in building and construction and things like that. If they say that our code is outdated, it's probably something we need to look at. But if we revisit this going forward in our next meeting, along with the amendments that you brought up, Councilman Fulper, the omissions and the quality of life discrepancies that are in there, and we can see if we can fix that going forward in our next meeting.
So, Council President, if I may,
Yes,
one last thing. I would like to make a recommendation on 597-5, which is the removal of abandoned vehicles from public streets. It specifically states that a wrecked, dismantled, junked, abandoned, or inoperable motor vehicle may be removed from the public streets or highways when 48 hours notice has been served upon the registered owner, either in person or by mail to the last known address to move such vehicle. However, if the vehicle obstructs traffic or is deemed to be a hazard, the police may remove such vehicle without prior notice to the owner. It's been brought to my attention multiple times that these types of vehicles have been brought to the attention of our police department, and the chief of police has relayed back to Council Vice President McVeigh that they can't move the vehicle, but it's clear utilizing 597-5 of the town code provides them that power. I would encourage the police department, led by the chief of police, to begin breaking down on these vehicles and removing them from the streets. They are cluttered with inoperable vehicles.
I can definitely sympathize with that.
That's all.
Some of these streets have barely one parking spot per residence. When you start adding 2 or 3 cars per block, it becomes quite a hassle to even park your daily use car. Okay. All right. Is there anything else from the council? Nothing. All right. At this point, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.